Good evening. It is Tuesday, August 4th, 2026, 7 p.m. I will call the city council meeting to order. Clerk Everett, will you please call roll?
Councilmember Huckabee,
Here.
Councilmember Johnson,
Here.
Councilmember Lesko Hair,
Here.
Councilmember Price. Here. President Jekyll.
Here. Thank you. Item 3, Pledge of Allegiance. I invite everybody to stand. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Item 4 is consent agenda. The consent agenda outlined below is hereby presented for action by the council. Any items may be removed from the consent agenda on request of any one council member. Items not removed may be adopted by one action without debate, and removed items may be taken up either immediately after the consent agenda or placed later on the agenda at the discretion of council president.
I move to approve the consent agenda as listed, items 4A through 4D.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any debate? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 5, public hearings. Tonight we have none. Item 6, public comment for matters on the agenda. The city council will receive comments from city residents. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per individual. Anyone wishing to speak are required to sign up in advance or state the following for the record when called upon: name, address, and contact information. Those of you following along on Zoom, if you wish to speak, please raise your virtual hand as the chat box is not monitored, and those on the call must remain muted unless recognized to speak. We don't have anybody signed up in person tonight, so first call for anyone on Zoom. Second call for Zoom. Seeing none, we will close out and move on. Item 7, petitions, requests, and communications. We have a presentation of proposed changes to Thrive Economic Development Structure. We have Thrive ED President Deb Reinbold here.
Well, hi, everyone. Oh, good. That's on already. Nice to see you all tonight. Thank you for having us. First, I'd like to introduce everyone. So again, my name's Deb Reinbold. I'm the president of Thrive Economic Development. We also have in the room Ben Waymeyer, the president and CEO of the Greater Watertown Community Health Foundation. Kevin Kaufman is in the row behind. Thank you. He is the Thrive Economic Development Board Chair, and Michael Lucky texted. He's the county administrator. He is on his way and will probably be walking in the door shortly. So I wanted to talk to you tonight about some proposed changes that we have for Thrive Economic Development and the way that we currently operate. So first, kind of look at the current state for the organization. Thrive Economic Development is this year celebrating 10 years. And in those 10 years, we've seen some significant projects and some significant activity within the region. Actually, I've written in my notes here, unprecedented. So hopefully you all think the same. But we still, even given all of those projects and that growth, we still have gaps that we need to fill. So there's still a need for additional housing, careers that offer family sustaining wages, and an increased tax base for our communities. Right now, our team, we've got 3 people on our team, myself, Emily Clavette, who's our financial partnership manager, who comes in and serves, supports you all with your revolving loan fund, and then Julie Oliver, who's our marketing manager. And finally, we see the opportunity to provide additional services to our communities without increasing the contributions, the public contributions that we're receiving. So the opportunity that we're discussing is the creation of what we're calling a regional prosperity hub. And so the Greater Watertown Community Health Foundation is offering to become basically the backbone organization for Thrive Economic Development. And this all kind of originated through the community health assessment for Dodge and Jefferson counties, where they identified housing and financial stability as vital conditions for change. So our work directly advances those efforts, and the foundation could either basically replicate the work that we're doing, or, as they're proposing here, could work with us and we would become staff for the Greater Watertown Community Health Foundation versus through Jefferson County, and they would be able to then support and enhance the work that we're currently doing. So just to make sure this is clear, what we're looking at is the communities wouldn't lose any services. In fact, we would gain additional capacity through this partnership. So the partnership that we're discussing would provide access to more tools, staff, and funding. We're gaining attention from national philanthropic organizations. I should say the foundation is gaining interest from national philanthropic organizations. And so these partnerships, in fact, they're getting asked to go and travel throughout the country and speak about some of the work that they're doing and participate in different events. And so we're hoping that some of the work and that attention that they're getting would help to attract additional support and investment from outside of our state even. So they also provide capacity to view this as from a larger lens and learn from others nationwide and bring in subject matter experts to accelerate and hopefully other organizations that maybe have done some of the work that we're looking to do, learn from them so that we can kind of jump ahead some of the problems and concerns that they may have had. So really what we're looking to do is build on what we think already works. And so with that, we've got a proven record of business attraction and retention expertise, productive industry relationships, trusted partners to site selectors and developers, strong working relationships with our municipalities through our JCEDC. We've become subject matter experts on housing and a proven convener. So whenever an organization or a business is looking for any kind of help, they come to us and we really try and act as that convener for them. So this partnership would allow us to focus on what we do well, and the foundation would then provide administration, financial, and again, HR backbone support. It's important too to note that this is not a takeover. So what we're looking at is a partnership that's designed to stabilize and grow services to our communities, and the foundation would be able to amplify the work that we're currently doing. So I think this is an important slide, and please, if you've got questions, feel free to jump in. But what this means, so basically we're looking at increased financial stability. The foundation will be looking at influxing a significant amount of money to help to support our work and additional staff capacity. So that would also mean additional staff. The foundation also would have some of their staff that we would be able to utilize. And I've got another slide and a couple slides that will show you a little bit more about what this would look like, including shared operational support, updated committee structure, and we'll go through that in another slide as well. And then also a broader regional service model. And so with the work with the foundation, we're also looking to expand potentially our service territory to include Dodge County as well. What will not change will continue to be a nonprofit. Our board will retain authority. Municipal participation is going to be essential. So right now, again, we've got great relationships with most of the communities within the region, and we want to continue to keep that engagement because we see that's a great part to our success. Local priorities will guide the work, so you all are going to be making the decisions on what our strategic plan looks like. Our core services are going to continue, and existing resources aren't going to be redirected. So right now, this is our organizational chart for Thrive Economic Development. So we have our Thrive Economic Development Board. I should say we do also have the Jefferson County Economic Development Consortium. That's not included on here, but that's a separate board. We have our executive committee, which is actually Rebecca serves on our executive committee. So it's our chair and vice chair of Thrive Economic Development, our chair and vice chair of JCEDC, and then also our county administrator who just walked in. Hi. We have our Finance Audit and Compliance Committee and our Investor Relations Committee. So those are our standing committees. And then we've got working committees as well with our Revolving Loan Fund Committee and also a Housing Committee. So with this change, what we would be looking to do is actually add a Public Sector Committee. And that public sector committee would be our way for the communities to have a greater voice. And my hope too is that we can have more back and forth, more engagement in those committees than we do in our current structure. As I talked about before, our staffing structure right now, it's myself, Emily Clavette, and Julie Alver. And the way that we've planned this transition would also then add another economic development director. So right now, I would say that I'm the lead on the economic development work that we do. So we would add someone basically who's doing some of the work, some of the same work that I'm doing. Elevate Emily from the financial partnership manager into a community development director, continue to have our marketing director, and then also add additional in-kind support from the foundation. So they're looking to add potentially a controller. We can make that into a controller RLF manager. so that Emily isn't having to go and collect information from specific developers and follow up with title companies and that type of work. And then also additional admin support. I think it's important to note our Thrive Economic Development Board is supportive of this change, this transition. This is a conversation that we've been having starting at the executive committee meeting as of last year, end of last year. So this is something that's been well thought through. They are supportive of moving forward. They see the opportunity to enhance the successful public-private partnership and then also intentionally add in philanthropic into that. Ben likes to call that the 3 Ps, and build off that first decade of work. And our board sees this as a responsible long-term solution for our communities and our organization. So what we're looking at as far as the service matrix. So basically our counties, right now, all of our counties participate they pay $1.50 per resident in order to participate in the JCEDC. And all of our communities also currently pay $1.50 per resident to participate. What we're looking to do is actually reduce that rate to $1 per resident and also add in a fee-for-service model for non-traditional services. So the base rate that we would be asking of our communities would actually be cut a third. Bless you. So I thought I'd include some of the service matrix options that I've got out here. This is definitely not all inclusive, but it could include things like the city is looking to add affordable housing program. So having us come in and administer that housing program on your behalf. We do certain grant applications. So for instance, right now we're doing a T grant application for the city of Jefferson. We are also doing a site assessment grant application for Watertown. There's a number of different, I should say, for a development in Watertown. So there's a number of different services that we're currently offering that we don't charge extra for. It's part of that base, part of just some of the services that we do. But in order to kind of create more equality between our communities and the work that we do, we thought that we would offer this fee for service model so that we can then make it a little bit more equal, more fair for all of the communities that are participating. So some of the examples here include custom data and analysis, tailored marketing and communication. So if there's specific things that your community is looking for that others might not, the general marketing for the region is still something that we would be supportive of without this fee for service model. If there's specialized workshops that you're interested in or project-based due diligence, we would do that as well. So for me, I think that this is a way to provide municipalities with customized support and the ability to scale up your staff, your team as you need it. Again, just to make sure you know, fee-for-service projects are additions and they don't replace the base level of the services that you're currently receiving. So the decision points that we have in front of us. So the Thrive ED and JCEDC board need to say go, no go. And we're looking at doing that. I've got another slide where we're talking through the timeline, but we're looking at targeting that in September. With that, we're looking at a municipal resolution, potential formal dissolution of JCEDC, and also a new governance model that we had gone through. So here, timeline and next steps. Our last board meeting was on July 21st. So we're working to circulate documentation. We're actually just finishing up some of the bylaws and some of those other things. The foundation has contracted with an attorney to go through and draft those. So again, bylaws, service agreements, those types of things, we're still finalizing. And so we'll share that out for feedback as well. Municipal board presentations, if requested, you all are our first. We've got a couple more on the docket in the next few weeks. And municipal and county board authorizations. Then August 27th is when our next board meeting is. We're not looking for a decision at that meeting. That's going to be a check-in because we realize that this is a lot of information and also pretty new for all of you. And then in September, we'll be looking to host a special meeting, and that's where we're hoping that we can get a decision made. And then sometime between October and December, a transition over to the foundation. Any questions?
No, but I want to thank you for what you've done for our community. I met you about 8 years ago as a councilman, and I watched you as what you've done for our community and have been terribly impressed with what you've done.
You're very kind. Thank you. It's because of the partnerships that we see.
The fees for services for non-traditional items, how
Mhm.
how will those, how do you anticipate those will be determined?
So if a community has a need, they'll come to us, ask us if it's something that we could support. And if so, we'll put together a proposal. We'll offer it to you just as if you were to go to an engineering firm or another outside source. And you can decide whether it's something that you agree to or not.
So kind of on an hourly basis or a project basis, or maybe a combination of the two, or?
I think it will depend on the project. So for instance, right now, the city of Waterloo has asked for additional support. They've got a treasurer that has left the city and then a clerk that is leaving. And so they've asked for our support. Actually, Emily is in Waterloo now. She was there today. She was there for a couple of hours yesterday just to try and make sure that they've got that support as they're transitioning to a new staff person. And that was an hourly rate because we didn't know exactly what they were looking for. And I think as we get more experience with this, we'll be able to come up with a better model. You know, whatever works for our communities is what we're looking to do. And so that's part of that public sector committee. We can go through and determine what that looks like more through that as well.
So one thing I heard very clear was that this model would give you access to more tools, staff, and funding. And
Yes.
who among us couldn't get behind that?
Thank you.
I will just mention this is well, Jenna collects her thoughts. I will just mention that, this has been something, as Deb mentioned, that we've been talking about quite a bit over the last 9 months or so. And we asked a lot of questions, right? Especially the JCEDC board folks asked a lot of questions because, the Thrive ED board still exists. And initially when we started to talk about this, the JCEDC board members said, so, wait a minute, you're moving further away from us. You're taking on an additional county and potentially additional municipalities. We're cutting the cost for municipalities, but you're promising us better service. That doesn't make sense. But it was a lot of, there was skepticism, and all those questions have been answered. Through some of these additional, and they'll be answered further through some of these bylaws and some of the committee structure. So I would anticipate for the city of Fort Atkinson's budget purposes, we would continue to budget the same amount in the account or in this area of the budget and just have some set aside for fees for particular services. But the great part about this is too that Deb mentioned our affordable housing fund. Well, we can use affordable housing fund funds to pay Thrive to administer that program for us. So it won't always be general fund dollars. And in some cases, for most developments, we also have cost recovery agreements with developers. So if there is an instance where we need some particular support from Thrive ED for a development, we can charge that back to the developer. As we do with some of the other services, some of the other engineering services that we require to review some of those plans. So we did have a healthy amount of skepticism, I'll say, from the JCEDC side, and I think the vast majority of the communities are satisfied with the structure as it's been presented tonight.
That helped answer and clarify a couple of things because when you hear those deals that sound too good to be true and you're just like waiting for that other shoe to drop, that's where I was trying to go and trying to figure out like this sounds like it'll be a great opportunity. Like Devin said, who couldn't use that? But I had the question of like, what is the foundation that like what do we bring to the foundation then if we're doing this, and like where are their perks? And thank you for laying it out like that because I think that helped the increase of the extra county, the residents, even though it's decreasing for the municipality, it's more all around then. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I should also mention that right now we're getting a lot of attention here within the county, which means that we're presenting at a lot more statewide organizations. Like last week, I was a speaker at A Home for Everyone, which is a housing summit. And I did the training for the attraction program for WEDC and the IEDC training. So I'm getting pulled into a lot of different directions, and having another person that can help me helps me to, I don't want to say regain some sanity, but it helps me to provide a little bit more balance.
Totally understand that.
Sure.
I think that's the best thing with this. Like you said, in a way, it seems we're going to be getting more for less. As you said, the county in the whole has just blown up national news with our big, Jefferson's, Kiekelman, and our housing developments here in town, just everything else Thrive has done for us. And I think, like you said, by combining with Watertown, Greater Watertown Foundation, I think that magnet's just gonna get bigger and hopefully help us more, but help Jefferson and Dodge counties as a whole. And, as it's always said, rising tide lifts all boats. So the more we can help our neighbors, the more our neighbors will help us, I think.
Thank you, Kyle. Wonderful. Anything from the people I'm with?
I think to just kind of answer the question for Gina a little bit is just one of the documents that will be key is going to be an actual service agreement between the foundation and Thrive Board of Directors. So that document will spell out all those expectations. So like the staffing structure you saw is kind of like the minimum staffing structure, which can ebb and flow based on the needs of the communities as we go forward. It's going to talk about how we deal with staffing issues. An example is Deb's role. If that becomes vacant, how do we work with partners on how that is filled to make sure the partners are at the table in that process to move forward. It talks about how the public sector engages. All that will be spelled in that service agreement. It kind of creates a contract, and as a result, so we honor also what we're saying verbally too.
And then to Davin's point, is that where we're going to be able to like decide if it's going to be hourly or project, or is that really just going to be based off of the first kind of initial asks, or like trying to feel our way through this?
So the way it's setting up for that exhibit, that's going to be these tiered committees going forward, is on an annual basis. Those matrix of services will be reviewed by the board in general, right? So we'll have a better understanding saying, okay, we know the fee for this. We can easily figure it out. We can almost do like an a la carte menu and publish that in advance. We start talking about running an affordable housing fund and look at the options for the revenue to help offset those costs with communities. That model is probably going to look a little bit differently. As Deb mentioned, we're being asked for different services that are not traditional economic development. So those fractional roles like in finance and administration have come up from a few communities during conversations as well.
Thank you.
Yep.
Great. Well, thank you all.
I
We
just wanted to
appreciate
say thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Peggy.
I just really quickly wanted to say thank you for all your hard work and also the year and a half that I've been on council. It's just your organization is so important to so many communities. And I'm just glad you're in existence. So, and that you now have a chance to expand. It's very
Thank you so
exciting.
much. Thank
Mhm.
you. We appreciate it.
All right.
All right. Thank
you
you.
very much for coming.
Thank you. Do you want this on or off?
No, you can say. You just, it's your.
All right. Moving on, then we have item 8, resolutions and ordinances. 8A is the first reading of an ordinance creating sections 94-245 through 94-248 of the City of Fort Atkinson Code of Ordinances relating to off-highway motorcycles. We have Police Captain Hefty tonight.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. So as you just mentioned, this is a first reading for a new ordinance. We don't have an ordinance for off-highway motorcycles right now. There is a state law that regulates it, but it will be much easier for us to regulate it at our level as opposed to through the circuit court. So I'm just going to start out by defining what an off-highway motorcycle is through the Wisconsin state statutes. Off-highway motorcycle means a two-wheeled motor vehicle that is straddled by the operator, that is equipped with handlebars, and that is designed for use off a highway, regardless of whether it is also designed for use on a highway. An off-highway motorcycle does not include an electric bicycle, as defined under Wisconsin statutes 34001 sub 15 PH. So we're not talking about e-bikes at all. We're just talking about off-highway motorcycles. The biggest difference between an OHM is what they call it, an off-highway motorcycle, and an e-bike is basically the speed that the OHM can achieve. It's like a motocross, dirt bike, trail bike. I'm sure you've seen them on and off the roadways. Right now, they're not legal in the state of Wisconsin at all. This just gives us a better avenue to police it or educate the public at our level. So right now, if we had a violation of an off-highway motorcycle, we would have to, and we wanted to take enforcement action, we would have to issue a citation, and that person would go to circuit court and a criminal traffic charge. So I think it's better for our residents to just keep it local and have our judge and our city attorney decide which way we want to deal with it. I think it would be much easier to educate people. We write our ordinance, as I'm sure you guys have seen it. Very straightforward. It's easy to understand. You look at a lot of state statutes and they're cumbersome and hard to navigate and really understand what the spirit of the law is. When we enforce this, we can enforce it the way we want and have our judge rule on it the way that he or she wants. So really adopting this ordinance would give Fort Atkinson police officers the authority to issue municipal citations for violations rather than relying on more serious state traffic charges. So I presented this to the ordinance committee in the just recently. The city attorney's also reviewed the ordinance and it's passed his legal review. The proposed ordinance updates have also passed through the ordinance review committee, and city staff supports the passing of this ordinance and requests that it be adopted by city council. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Do OHM motorcycles also have pedals?
No, they don't have pedals. There's no pedals on an OHM. There's no manual propulsion that propels the OHM. It's all either electric or gas.
Have you had instances of individuals who have had to go through the state charges?
We never have sent a criminal traffic referral to the circuit courts. We have had people riding them. But you typically have people under 18 riding these things. And I think a lot of the issue is parents don't know that they bought their kids something that's not legal to ride in our city or in the state. It's only, those OHMs are only legal on personal private property. So not sidewalks, not bike trails, nowhere, not on the road, nowhere.
And are you finding that this is becoming more of a hot topic with other law enforcement agencies?
Yes, it is. I just read, I think Chief's got the municipality publication that had a big article in it, just this most recent one I read the other day while I was having lunch. So it's all over, and it's not just statewide, it's nationwide. Part of the ordinance that I wrote was taken from Douglas County, Colorado. Apparently they have a huge problem with it. So we're trying to get in front of it. I know we're already behind a little bit, but the OHMs aren't overriding us. A lot of e-bikes, a lot of e-scooters, which, we have an amendment proposed for tonight for the first reading as well. But this is relating just to OHMs.
Is there any plans to help educate parents?
So excuse me, the next step would be to try and get in a relationship with a school district and I've seen other places like in California, they have a school district has contracts with their kids who are going to ride an e-bike or an e-scooter to school. So we're going to look into that too, try and get together with a school district and have them work with us so that we can be on the same page with us.
I can foresee some very unhappy parents who spent a large dollar to give a nice gift to their kid to find out they can't ride it. And if they were educated in advance of that, that might solve a lot of the issue.
Yes, I would agree with that.
I move to perform the first reading of the ordinance and direct the city manager to prepare the ordinance for a second reading on August 18th.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. 8B, review is the first reading of an ordinance to amend several sections of Chapter 94 of the City of Fort Atkinson Code of General Ordinances relating to electric bikes and scooters. We have Police Chief Bump tonight for this.
Hello, everyone. So when we started doing the research on the off-highway motorcycles, And we started seeing a trend with more violations related to OHMs and e-bikes and bicycles. And we started doing the research. We also said we should take a look at our e-bike ordinance just to make sure it's where it should be and it's up to date. And one of the things we noticed is that our definition of e-bikes for the state of Wisconsin was didn't quite match in a way that really helped support education to our public, and that aligned with the current designations for the different levels of an e-bike. The last time we did the ordinance, it was early stage of e-bike popularity, and things have changed a little bit. So we saw that the definition needed to be improved within our ordinance, so it adopted state law, and that way we're consistent. But also through that process, we also looked at the entire ordinance beginning to end, and we brought in some comparables from cities like Lake Mills, Onalaska, Manitowoc, Caledonia, and some other locations out of the state, just to make sure, are we missing anything? Is there anything we haven't thought of? Are there things that we should include in the update since we're doing it? So before you, I provided an updated ordinance that has the upgraded definition of the classes for e-bikes that aligns with state law, and then some other additions into the ordinance that should be there and just never were. And some other ones that are things that our officers are seeing and that other communities have an ordinance to make our ordinance a little bit more well-rounded. And I am open to any questions that you might have related to the ordinance as drafted.
Does the police department require an e-bike to have a license plate of some sort?
Correct. The city has an ordinance in place. The current bicycle, e-bike, and e-scooter ordinance does require licensing of all bicycles in the city for residents, not for people visiting. And so, yeah, they can come to the police department and get a license for that. And that's something we've been doing for, I think, 50 years or more.
I can see that be very useful in tracking down someone who's not playing nice with others.
Well, there's a lot of good benefits to the license. One is identifying a missing or stolen bike and having all the information there, like the serial number, contact information for the owner. If a child is in an accident, children usually don't carry identification with them. We can use that license number on the bike to identify who that child is and who their parents are, so we can get them notified and up to speed quicker. So there's a lot of good benefits to a bike license and that ordinance that we have in place.
Excellent.
I just have a question about the parental responsibility addition.
Yeah.
Do you do you think the $10 is high enough for the first offense?
Well, the $10 is the citation amount that does not include court fees. So
Okay.
when an officer writes a ticket, we have a bond schedule that we have to follow. And when we go to like where the $10 amount is, it adds in all the fees for us. It has like a calculator kind of for us. And so it is actually a little bit more than that when you account for court fees and stuff like that.
Okay,
Don't
because
have
when
it-
I was
I don't
looking
know
at
the
it
dollar
for,
amount.
that's okay. It was just,
What is
I was
it?
looking at it for deterrence.
It's $77.30 would be the end citation
Okay.
amount with a $10
Okay.
Fee deposit.
Does the
Okay.
citation go to the child or to the parents?
The way the ordinance is currently written, it could go to either, but there is a parental responsibility that we have included in here because I think we'll see better compliance if we have the parents and their help and motivating them to change the behavior as well. So that's what we're really after.
Is there a kind of a graduated scale to the price from $10 being a starter to say, get your attention, and then on your fourth, fifth one, are you
I think
paying
it
more?
goes up after the second offense is where it increases to a larger dollar amount, correct?
It's $50 plus court costs for subsequent offenses within 1 year of the first offense.
Excellent.
I'm glad Peggy asked that question because that was actually on my mind too. And to me, $10 really didn't seem like a whole lot, but once you throw in the court fees and that, then yeah, that $77 really creates a stickler that parents might, well, my kid got $10 tickets,
Yeah.
seatbelt ticket in the world of some people. Well, it's
Yeah.
$10. I'm just going to pay it, not going to move it.
I think that dollar amount is not excessive, but it's also,
But
it's not
77
nothing.
is still enough that,
Yeah,
that's a dinner for a family of four.
Yep.
at a real cheap restaurant. So, so it's enough of a stickler to get their attention, say, hey, we're going to take care of this problem with the kids not having this unit anymore, I think. So,
So I presented this before the ordinance committee on July 21st, and they approved it to come to city council for your review. Our hope is that we can get through the readings and move this along and approve it, the updates in the new city ordinance. And if there was any other questions beyond that, I just wanted to make sure I circled back and make sure that that was known, and that the city attorney did also review it prior to the ordinance committee review.
Can we just have a clarification? No person under the age of 16 years shall operate a class 3 electric bike. So saying like nobody under 16 shouldn't operate a bike just sounds on the surface very like they're made for kids. So can you define a class 3 electric bike?
Yeah, so a class 3 electric bike is a bike that goes a little bit faster than the rest of them. So of the 3 electric bicycles, this one can go up to 28 miles per hour with pedal assist. So 28 miles per hour over this legal speed limit on most streets in the city of Fort Atkinson. And that's on a bicycle that we would probably prefer someone under the age of 16 who doesn't have a valid driver's license, road experience. We don't really want them operating those bikes. Faster speeds also result in more serious injuries when accidents occur as well. So that's what the state is after, and that's why we want to make sure that we align with that definition.
And 28 miles per hour is pretty fast. I've got a lot of really good bike riding friends that I think top out 25, 26, and they're really good athletes. So 28 isn't just a common,
That's
most
kind of
people
for a
pedaling
normal
fast.
person, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And I will just note those definitions are in the ordinance.
Yep.
Class 1, class 2, and class 3.
One of the biggest issues we're seeing, and the article that was referenced in the municipal magazine, so they got information from the Madison hospitals, and between 2024 and 2025, they saw a 700% increase in injuries from e-bike accidents. They're not saying that e-bikes have more accidents, but when they do occur, there's more commonly injuries.
And is there anything within that data? Is it the operator of the e-bike and someone else getting injured?
There's so many factors involved on the roadway, right? You have inattentive driving, you have reckless driving, you have someone on a bicycle not following all the rules, going too fast. There's so many different dynamics that come into play.
Yeah. How do you determine when someone is riding one faster than is reasonable and proper?
Well, they will register on a radar.
Yep.
But officers are also trained to estimate speed as well. It's part of our training and requirements to be certified to operate a radar or a LiDAR is to be able to very closely within 5 miles an hour estimate speeds.
so with these bikes being class 1, 2, and 3, is it easy, identifiable, looking at a bike standing there?
Yeah, if you saw recently, we've had some posts on social media that we've put out to the public to try to help educate throughout the entire summer and leading up to these ordinance changes. And they come with decal stickers that come from the manufacturer. They're required to have them on there, and they delineate the 1, 2, and 3, and they also provide information about that bike. So we can easily identify it as long as they're not tampered with. And it is a requirement under state law that in Wisconsin that they have those decals from the manufacturer.
Okay.
And I didn't look this up ahead of time, Chief, but is there a helmet requirement? Because I did see an article as well that the injuries are higher because people are wearing bike helmets and the speeds are more in line with what you'd need to be on a motorcycle.
Yeah, so there are some cities have chosen to add a helmet requirement. We have not included that in our ordinance. I kind of felt like sometimes we have to choose our battles, and I think it was most important to get this ordinance in place and updated. Wisconsin is not a mandatory helmet state for bikes or motorcycles. So knowing the atmosphere of the community, I thought I might be picking a fight there. So
Except for under 18, if I'm correct, right?
Say that again?
Under 18 on motorcycles is
Yeah,
helmet required.
Yes.
And I was I was thinking about it more in line with the educational piece when you're doing the OHMs, that it's not common knowledge that a regular bike helmet is not going to protect you at 25 plus miles an hour.
Right. It's, yeah, right. It's very
Mhm.
different. Correct.
Okay, thank you. I move to perform the first reading of the ordinance and direct the city manager to prepare the ordinance for a second reading on August 18th.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Real quick, we talk about the streets of the city a lot. Would there be anything about like the bike trails? I know the one bike trail, they kind of just shoot across without stopping.
So under state law, we cannot restrict the use of e-bikes on trails because they need to be treated as a normal bicycle. There is an enforcement aspect that can probably be increased a little bit to help increase safety when it comes to the bikes and the use of the bike trail and following, street signs and everything. So.
Yeah, because we say like obey all traffic signs, signals, and stop signs when they're upon any street in the city.
Yeah, so
So I wasn't sure if that's getting too semantic.
yeah, the signs on the bike trail are not enforceable signs. They are, hey, this is for your safety, you should stop here type thing, but it's not, those smaller signs are educational and as a courtesy, but not enforceable by law enforcement.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Could we put in an ordinance to, state of that sorts of the bike trail has a top speed limit of X miles an hour or something potentially,
I
or
believe you could, but I'd have to do a little research to make sure, but I don't see why a municipality couldn't set a top speed on the bike path. I don't know how we would enforce it. It would, but it's something I think that could be done.
Yeah.
I'd have to do a little research.
Just in looking at the ordinance that we're proposing here, the top speed of a class 3 is 28 miles an hour. It's not unheard of for a person on a bicycle that's a regular bike to get up to,
Close to
that. So I guess I'm not sure there would be an appropriate speed limit to put into place, given that the off-highway motorcycles that go faster than that are prohibited altogether. So we're really looking at a max speed of, Lance Armstrong and/or 28 miles an hour for a class 3 bike, which I would think is pretty reasonable.
The good thing about the class 3 is that you have to be pedaling on top of it. So it's not like a class 2 where it has a throttle where it will go 20 miles an hour without pedaling at all. But it is pedal assist for a legal e-bike, and it's a pedal assist to 28 miles an hour. So hopefully you run out of steam at some point.
Thank you. All right, we have the motion, the second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
8C, first reading of an ordinance amending the City of Fort Atkinson zoning map to change the zoning of the property located at 1911 Janesville Avenue from rural holdings RH 35 to multifamily residential MRH 30. Director of Neighborhood and Building Services, Drager.
All right, thank you. In case somebody's not familiar, this property is located across from the Clement Business Park, Commerce Avenue there, directly across from that. It is currently a city property, and as you said, it is owned rural holding. And the proposal is to rezone the property to MRH 30, which would facilitate the construction of multifamily housing in this location. One thing I do want to comment on is the Planning Commission did review the zoning map amendment on July 28th, and then all required notices were sent out for this. And then another thing to point out is this is the zoning aspect of approvals only. Any future approvals for the project specifics itself would require site plan review, certified survey map, And then touching on that certified survey map, there were some residents at the public hearing. There would be no mechanism where a current or existing easement on a property could be changed without their approval. That existing easement would stay in place until they were to agree with the applicant to change that. Otherwise, it would exist as it is today. So I did want to make sure everybody is aware of that. And then once again, all the site-specific approvals would have to be met as well, including a conditional use permit where some parameters could be set on the project itself. The project itself is set for 2 phases, as proposed, I should say. One first phase is 4 16-unit multifamily homes, and then a phase 2 would be 3 16-unit multifamily buildings, excuse me. And then as moving forward, the future land use map and the city's comprehensive plan does designate this as a planned mixed use, which does include multifamily housing, residential housing. As far as a financial impact, there's no direct impact, except there is an increase in the tax base with the construction of multifamily housing. I do want to point out, as we are well aware, there is a high need for additional housing in the county as a whole and city of Fort Atkinson, and this would be allowing for a project like that to move forward through proposals. And then with that, staff and plan commission recommend the city council direct the city manager to prepare the ordinance for a second reading at the August 18th meeting. And I would welcome any questions that you might have.
The current zoning, the RH 35 out there, which allows for agricultural uses, do we lease that or anything right now?
Privately owned.
It's privately owned.
Yep. So the rural holding allows for agricultural uses, but it is really meant as a holding designation for future development.
I think when Director Drager mentioned it's a city property, he just meant that it's located within the city limits.
My apologies. Yes.
It does not
be
need to
owned.
be,
Yes.
does not need to be annexed. for this
Privately
project.
owned, it is, does not need to be annexed. Yes. Thank you.
I move to perform the first reading of the ordinance and direct the city manager to prepare the ordinance for a second reading on August 18th.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I know I've kind of been going back and forth with this. I've had a few people reach out over the period as this has been coming to fruition. Still kind of in my head of, why are we putting multifamily or residential when northern property and eastern properties are all considered business park adjacent? So, back and forth, I've been kind of throwing that in my head as to is this really something we should be doing there with the industrial park or business park, sorry, kind of kicking off development now, but I do agree that this is definitely going to benefit the city and be helpful with that tax base down there. So
For sure. And if I may, the comprehensive plan does really lay that out as that planned mixed use for that intermixing of commercial and residential.
okay.
Yeah, and I will just note that this parcel was not included at any point in the Clement Business Park.
Like I said, it just as you come in right off the bypass, to me it just throws me a little bit. One side's going to be all apartments and the other side's going to be big flex industrial buildings. So that's where, like I said, I'm not fully against it. I'm not 100% for this project, but I'm not also going to say I'm going to stand in the way of saying this project should move forward. So, and I know one of the big things that somebody's brought up to me is that easement, and I'm glad you guys have clarified that this easement is, they can't move forward with that part of the property if that easement is not agreed to. So
That's correct. Yep.
any further discussion, Marilyn?
Yeah, I just would want to point out it's been, the Clement Business Park is populated very slowly. So until it's filled up, I don't know if that'd be the same thing about, to be stopping the housing one. And this may even increase how fast it fills up. So I think it's a good idea to do it.
Yeah. And I hope with the creation of the TIF district this year or this fall, that will help spark all this development in there. And I mean, we see a lot starting to come to fruition. So I think we're at the beginning of a big run here. So, all right. With that being said, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
I,
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you. All right, item 9, reports of officers, boards, and committees. We have the city manager's report. Manager Hausman.
Thank you. The 18th annual Fort Atkinson Youth Triathlon was held on July 25th for children ages 7 to 14. We had 89 young participants swim, bike, and run through Rock River Park. A special thanks to Brett Ketterman, Lauren Leskohair, and Marin Selly for organizing the event, and to the amazing 50+ volunteers who helped make that race day a success. The Joint Review Board met on July 27th to finalize the creation of TIDS 11 and the amendment number 1 to TID number 9, to review and approve the 2025 TID annual reports for TIDS 6, 7, 9, and 10, and to review the first draft of the project plans for TIDS 12 and 13 proposed in the city's downtown. The Plan Commission held a public hearing at the meeting on July 28th for those two TIDs, and the City Council will review the proposed TIDs 12 and 13 at the meeting on August 18th. And those project plans are currently available on the city's website. The Board of Review met on July 30th. The board, consisting of the City Council, the City Clerk, and I, didn't have any hearings. So I just want to thank Justin Wiersma and his team at Associated Appraisal for their work during Open Book, which went right up till the start of Board of Review. So for the next 4 years, the city will have a full value maintenance contract with Associated Appraisal, which means that the assessments should remain relatively stable. So there was a large jump this year to get back in compliance with state statutes, and over the next 4 years, it should be relatively stable. On August 8th, the Senior Center is hosting the Picnic in the Park event featuring Bahama Bob for entertainment. The event will be held at the Rock River Park Rotary Pavilion from noon till 2 p.m. The partisan primary election is coming up on August 11th. The last day to vote by absentee ballot in person is this Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. in the city clerk's office. Polls will be open on the 11th at the municipal building from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. A couple of road projects going on. The Wisconsin DOT plans to improve a 5.5-mile section of Highway 89 north of the city of Fort Atkinson. Resurfacing, it's a mill and overlay, the existing asphalt pavement. To find out more about this state-funded road project, please check out the DOT's website. Again, that's not in the city, but it is north of the city. Also, the Jefferson County Highway Department will begin resurfacing Business 26 from County K to Rita Lane the week of August 17th. So that is a mill and overlay as well. Work is expected to be complete by mid-September, weather permitting. The Business 26 will remain open to traffic. However, motorists are encouraged to use alternate routes. The South Main Street project in the city is on schedule, with the high-pressure gas main installation scheduled to be included by We Energies in early September. The city's contractor, Rock Road, will then be back on site and will be back on site this week, to begin stormwater installation and curb work. So that project will see a little bit more action. The Police and Fire Commission met on July 28th and voted unanimously to promote Jill Reifschneider, as a part-time firefighter to part-time lieutenant. So congratulations to Jill. Matt Vassy has accepted the role of water utility superintendent for the city and will be starting on August 10th, which will give him a week overlap with our current utility director, Jeff Armstrong, before Jeff's retirement on August 14th. Matt comes to the city with 25 years of public works experience, with the last 16 being in a water utility. Nathan Berge has been hired as a Public Works Operations crew person and will start work on August 24th. Regretfully, Public Works crew person Austin Armstrong will be leaving the city to pursue other career goals, but he's really been a fantastic employee, and so we wish him well in the next phase of his career. And finally, the city's summer photo contest continues through August 10th. Winners will be announced on August 17th. So more information on that is on the city's website as well.
Thank you. Moving on, item 10, we have unfinished business tonight. There's none. Item 11, new business, review and possible action relating to the purchase of a 2026 Ford F-250 Super Duty truck for the city's water utility. Water Superintendent Armstrong.
Good evening. As the background says, that the utility is looking for replacing a 17-year-old truck. It's used its life up. It's been a good truck. So if you do the math, I think it would cost us like $2,600 a year over the 17 years. So it hasn't really been maintenance problems haven't been that much, but they're starting to get there now. So it's time to get rid of it. So as short version is we just need a new truck. So like I said, 17 years, we use the trucks every day. I mean, they're not sitting still too much. We're either on some kind of a service call or something, or main issues, or just it's constantly moving around the city. So we need reliable vehicles to provide that quality service that we do. So we did the financial assessment of it. I did put that in last year's CIP for a truck this year of $50,000, which I solicited 2 bids based on what the city mechanics told me to get the bids from. Both were Ford vehicles, which they recommend because our fleet's kind of setting more towards Ford, so it's a lot less inventory parts wise and everything else. So it's a good way to look at it too. So we did reach out to Griffin Ford. They did come back with a 2026 F-250 gas motor. They're both got gas motors in them. The electric version that we bought a couple years ago, they don't make an electric version anymore. So Ford has phased that out. So, which that's been a good vehicle too so far. So, but hopefully they bring it back to life again. So, but anyway, we did solicit 2 bids out to Griffin Ford here in town. That bid came back at $44,215.50. And then we also reached out to Gordy Boucher in Janesville. That bid came back at $47,996.50. Like I said, they're both identical match as far as motors, just a plain Jane F-250 single cab XL package, no bells or whistles really other. I think it's got a cloth seat, but the carpet's no carpet. It's just a vinyl floor again. So just simplicity, keeping it clean and stuff like that. Cause we're in the mud and crud and stuff like that. So it's easier to just keep them that way. So but basically that's about the short and sweet of it right there. We need a new truck. Any questions?
Miles do you put on
I
that
was gonna
truck?
look at it, David. I never did. I think it had 166 on it or something like that is what I looked at. So
That's just short of 17,000 a year,
Yeah.
if my math is correct.
Well, your math's better than mine 'cause I didn't.
This is definitely getting out of my realm. I am not a car person, so I just want to put that before I ask this question. Is there a reason why we're doing a 250 versus?
Yeah, because
one?
now we have a trailer that we pull from, we go on like main breaks and stuff like that. We've actually increased the size of that trailer. And it's overweighting the F-150s. It's just more beefier and stuff like that to haul this equipment around, stuff like that, pulling our mowers around. It's going to be better in the long run for us instead of taking a lighter version pickup truck and kind of basically prematurely beating it to death.
Should make it more durable too.
Yeah, obviously it's going to ride rougher, but it's part of the
We're
day.
fixing the city streets one street at a time.
Yeah.
Thank
By
you.
the time we need a new truck, maybe we'll have all the streets done. So anyway, like I said, it's a due purchase. So he said we had the money allotted for it, so it's covered and then some. So
I move to approve the purchase of a 2026 Ford F-250 Super Duty truck for the city's water utility from Griffin Ford of Fort Atkinson at a cost not to exceed $44,215.50.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion?
I'm glad we could get you in here one more time before your last day. Thanks for your. all your service.
He'll be
Take it
back.
on.
He'll be back again.
what's that?
I said he'll be back again.
Yeah, I'll be back. I think June, July, or excuse me, August 18th. Uh-oh. Not for any money. You're gonna give me some.
Great. We have the motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, and
Jeff.
thank you, everyone.
All right, 11B, review and possible action relating to a storm sewer cleaning, televising, and locating invoice. We have Director of Public Works, Neven, tonight.
Good evening. On June 9th, Plan Commission recommended the City Council approval of preliminary certified survey map for the property located at 312 South 4th Street with a condition establishing an easement for maintaining public storm sewer on the final certified survey map before being brought forward to the City Council for approval. This condition was recommended to address the storm sewer that runs through the property at this location, As you can see in Exhibit A, city staff had an idea where the storm sewer ran through the private property, but there was no record of its exact location. City staff contracted out the cleaning and televising of this 234.5-foot section of pipe to properly locate its path through private property. The exact location of the pipe is now being recorded in the CSM as recommended by the Plan Commission. And the cost to complete the work exceeded staff's estimated cost of $6,500, which brings this item to council tonight. This was due to the cleaning of the pipe taking longer than expected, as well as difficulties cleaning and televising equipment through the pipe's multiple bends. As you'll see in Exhibit B, not necessarily an easy pipe to clean just based on its path alone. So the total cost to clean, televise, and locate this section of pipe totaled $11,805, and staff proposes to pay the invoice using stormwater utility funds. So staff recommends City Council approve the Expeditors Inc. invoice of $11,805 for the cleaning, televising, and locating of the storm sewer pipe at 312 South 4th Street. And I'll take any questions.
It's a very interesting curvature of the pipe.
Yeah, I won't recommend that we do anything like that moving forward.
Long straight shots are best.
Yes,
In the public right of way.
correct. In the right.
Long straight shots in the public right of way are best practice.
I think I may have asked the question back when this came up a while ago, and I don't remember the answer now. Do we know of other pipe that is that's on private property that runs through?
Yes.
So there
There's
is.
plenty of it, yeah.
And has it caused any, I mean, has it caused any issues over years? No. Okay. Yeah, okay. I don't want to tempt fate there, but.
So this is a 3-foot by 4-foot box culvert, so it's not just your standard 24, 48-inch round pipe. So it's definitely harder to clean, harder to access, harder to navigate when trying to locate, and now has a garage built over the top of it, so it will prove to be challenging throughout its life.
Do we know how roughly deep this pipe is, like under that garage?
The north end at Abendross, it is 14.5 feet deep, and the south end at their sidewalk there on South 4th Street is 7.5 feet.
I move to approve the invoice for storm sewer cleaning, televising, and locating from Expeditors Incorporated at cost not to exceed $11,805.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
11C, review and possible action relating to the purchase and installation of fire EMS computer-aided dispatch system using donated funds. Fire Chief Peterson.
Good evening. Tonight I bring forward a request to implement a computer-aided dispatch system known as CAD for our fire department. Included a lot of the detail in our staff reports. I won't read through that, but I just want to kind of talk about why this system is so important to us and how it's going to serve our firefighters, our dispatchers, and ultimately the citizens that we serve. When I got here a few years ago, this was one of the clear needs I identified for our department. Coming from an agency that had been using a CAD system for probably the last 25 years, it was something that had become normal to me. And when we had gotten here, I could see the really disadvantage our staff had by not having access to this. So for some history, today, when a call is received by our dispatchers, I'll call it kind of a push-only system, and that they will tone us out on our pagers and on our radio. They'll give us a address and a brief description of what the incident is, and then that's it. And keep in mind, it's not through the fault of the dispatchers. That's the technology that they have available to them. So what may be going to a call for a fall, when we get there, will turn out to be a cardiac arrest or a stroke, and we won't have seen that updated information. We're kind of coming in blind. By contrast, this system works seamlessly with the police department's CAD system that is up and running and is proven, and the police are using, and we're adding the fire department aspect to this. So with the new system, there's computers in the vehicles. So as the dispatcher tones us out, when we get into the vehicles, the address is there, the mapping is there,
The real time turn by turn is there. So it recognizes, just like a Google Maps would, construction and delays and takes us to the best route. It also has a bunch of information on there about where we're going. So if there's known hazardous materials in there, it'll be logged onto there. It'll be a map of the building, any pre-plan, or even reasons we've been to that particular house before, and which is real valuable as we're going to a scene, not knowing we're having to be able to look and see why we've gone to this particular residence before. So it's really a robust system. It's an add-on feature to our existing CAD system known as Pro Phoenix that we've been using for quite a bit in our department. It also allows our command staff to look at their computer and see where other vehicles are at and when they're responding, which is really important when you have a combination department, because the full-time staff will respond immediately, but the part-time staff are a delayed response. And so you can see in real time where they're at on the streets, and how long they'll take to get there, much like we track our kids' phones, as I still do with my 26-year-old, which is a huge advantage for us. It's something that we're suffering from now. The other thing I want to make sure we know is that it's a add-on to the existing system. Our dispatchers, for the most part, have one dispatcher at a time. So they are answering the 911 call. A lot of times for vehicle accidents or fires, they're answering multiple 911 calls for the same events, talking to us on the radio, talking to the police on the radio, and this automates the system for them. It tells them the type of call it is, what vehicles that are recommended. If we are running out of vehicles, it'll automatically advise them to contact another agency for a specific vehicle, and really giving us the tools and the information we need to be able to do our job most efficiently and take out that possibility of that human error that we have when we had this push only system. I think the other really great thing is this is coming in at no cost to our residents. It is from a extremely generous donation from somebody in town that's paying for 100% of it. So although it's going through our council, it's being borne by a really significant resident that saw an operational need and really has stepped up to assist us. The last thing is I'd like to recognize two people, Captain Ben Lindsay with the police department and Captain Mike Lawson, who is here tonight. I kind of put this on their laps, seeing this was a significant priority for us. And they've spent about the last 18 months working on this, and really hard in the last 6 months to get this up and running. So I really wanted to thank them for all that extra work. So with that, the staff recommends approval of the purchase and implementation of the Pro Phoenix computer-aided dispatch and mobile data terminal project in the amount of $35,673.05 through the vendors identified in our staff report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I don't have a question, but I just have a wonderful observation. I've lived here for 21 years, and every year I get pleasantly astounded by the generosity of our city, whether it's their time, talent, and in this case, the treasurer to pay for this. It's really inspiring.
I will echo that, and I'll echo it on behalf of our staff. This is a significant upgrade to our capabilities, and I don't want to name them publicly. I'll let them do that, but it's an incredibly generous donation that really will have a direct impact on the service we can provide.
It is a significant purchase, and I think it is a reflection of your department and the people who serve it, that we continue to get these incredibly generous anonymous benefactors helping us out with things that we'd otherwise have to put off or borrow for. So I hope that you share heartfelt words of
I certainly will.
appreciation for the donor.
And then one thing I failed to mention is we recognize the significant cost of this. So we're outfitting our first 3 response vehicles, which go on the majority of our calls. As funds become available and the system grows, we'll add the systems to the vehicles for about $5,000 each as we start replacing vehicles, and we'll build that into the cost of new vehicles.
One question I had, I know you mentioned that this integrates with our police department's CAD system. Does this communicate then well with the sheriff's department as well?
It does not.
Okay.
And I talked about it a little bit in our staff report, and that we're really unique in that we're dispatched by two different agencies. Unfortunately, they both have different CAD systems. The hardware will be there should they ever change, but the vast majority of the calls we're doing in the city of Fort Atkinson, and really get great service from our police dispatch center, and really have no plan on changing that.
Okay.
I'd love to be able to tell you that they talk together, but unfortunately they don't.
But hopefully in the future, if one or the other does decide to change.
Yeah, or there's some sort of a patch that can transfer that data would be something I'd foresee at some point in the future. But we're taking the big step now of getting our hardware and software infrastructure in place.
Thank you.
Good question.
I move
move
to
to-
approve the purchase and implementation of the Pro Phoenix computer-aided dispatch model data terminal project in an amount not to exceed $35,673.05 from the vendors listed in the staff report using donated funds.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Please extend our sincere gratitude to the donors. All right, item 12, miscellaneous. Tonight we have none. Item 13, public comment for matters not on the agenda. Being I don't see anybody, we will just skip on over this portion. So that leads us to item 14, claims, appropriations, and contract payments. 14A, review and possible action relating to the verified claims presented by the Director of Finance and authorized payment.
I move to approve the verified claims as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Huckabee,
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember Lesko Hair,
Aye.
Councilmember Price,
Aye.
President Jekyll.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. Item 15, closed session. The city council may adjourn into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.85 sub 1 sub E to deliberate or negotiate of purchasing of public properties, the sale of public properties, and the purchase of temporary limited easements over private property where competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session.
I move to convene in closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute, Section 19.851E, to deliberate or negotiate the purchasing of public properties, the sale of public properties, and the purchase of temporary limited easements over private property where competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session.
Second.
Sounds good. Wow. Sorry, long day apparently. All right. We have motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. We are in closed session.
Okay, just for everybody on the Zoom, we will not, there's no action item, so the council will likely not reconvene in open session.